I made a maze game with only GIFs and it's playable as shown here. But how did I do this? I chose to make a maze game with GIFs because I've been uploading GIFs for others to use for a while. Now first, I start off by planning the game itself. I want to make a maze and I can post GIFs that appear on different platforms. And I already tried making an RPG game where people can send stickers to one another, but there were some problems. There were no official rules and it's easy for someone to prevent themselves from losing. I wanted to make a maze that people could play without cheating. I also wanted it so you can also save your progress by saving the image or sending it somewhere through some sort of save state. Knowing this, I started. I needed to create a maze, so I found a website that created free to use mazes and set that as the base. I made it pretty big and put the player at the top left because the end of the maze would be at the bottom right. The player's goal would be to make it to the bottom right of the maze. I added a 3D effect and I decided to recolor the maze because I wanted it to be a bit similar to the scary maze. Thankfully, the maze that was created is evenly spaced out, meaning that I can represent the player's position in the maze with X and Y coordinates. Now, moving ends up changing these X and Y coordinates in the maze, but I have to remember that these maze positions have to be searchable. If I were to put the X and Y coordinates in the search, then somebody knowing the size of the maze would search up the bottom right corner by thinking,
wait a minute, one goes right and -1 goes down. Let's just do that multiple times.
And then that's how they find the end of the maze. I would decide to represent it as one number. First idea was to represent the cell as a number from 1 through 225, with it looping back every 15 blocks, which is the width of the maze. But people would then type in most maze 225 to find the end. So I turned the numbers completely random. And they would also not repeat, so they would be unique. The people would then see the GIF's name at the top, which allows people to save their spot. And the numbers next to the player would represent the number of the cell, and the player could type in those numbers to go to that spot. So how do I make the players not go through walls? I added a few collision checkers in the maze and prevented the player from seeing the number of a cell that they cannot go to. If there's a wall in front of them, then that number behind that wall will not appear. There would be around a 1 in 1,000 chance, or more likely, for the player to guess the number of that cell. Now that would have been the end of it, but I wanted to make the maze more interesting, so I asked some people if they wanted to add themselves to the maze, and that led to some mini events that can happen. If you enter the number of a cutscene cell, which you can see by the glowing number, it will show you a message. And you will have to remember your previous number to go back to where you once were. And now I removed the black background from every GIF, so now you can play this through stickers too. And yeah, that's how I made a maze with GIFs. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys again.